What day are you working on fourth down defense?
Fourth down. Oh, it started on Monday. She started on the plane ride for a little bit. Then I fell asleep. But
these guys seem to go for it quite a bit.
Well, actually, I started on the plane ride. So I watched our game on the bus. Then on the plane ride, I pulled up the Chargers. And I think it was the third play, I saw Herbert drop back and threw like a ball like 25 yards down on the rope. I said, I'll get to this tomorrow. Say, man, geez.
What do you think about them going for it on fourth so much now?
I'm assuming it's some strategy the head coach is working, and I like it. Being aggressive, defensive-minded head coach. I'm sure it has something to do with the analytics part of it. Each situation is different. It might be analytics, it might be a feel in the game. You look at some of the stuff that happened in the Baltimore game. Baltimore was, had a good lead, and maybe they felt like they needed to go ahead and take their chances there. But, it presents a challenge. The one thing we got to practice, no matter what play we make on third down to get a stop, guys got to be alert on the sideline, stay in the white, be ready. I got to make sure I'm alert, because sometimes, you get so used to on third down, whether it was, again, the fourth down, you're like, it's a good play, but you might be going through the series in your mind, but you got to stay alert. They might stay out there. So it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, with Herbert, there's a lot of good quarterbacks, but how challenging and unique is it to defend a guy who really, there's no part of the field he can't put the ball on? So how different is that game planning for?
It's hard because you try to bring the awareness to the guys in terms of, you get to just take, for example, they're plus 50 when they get past the 50-yard line. I mean, he could do it from drop back. He do it from the gun in terms of from under center. He could roll one way and throw it back to the other end zone. I mean, it's a challenge. He's a big guy. I would say size-wise, probably in terms of height and stuff, it's like Ben, when you're dealing with Ben. And then in terms of arm talent, I mean, probably like him, Mahomes, those guys that could just throw the ball a mile. And, I mean, he throws it on a rope and pretty accurate. So it's a challenge, but you just go through it with the guys. I know we spend a lot of time going through the plus 50. We get more into the red area and fringe tomorrow. That we call it, like say from the 40 to the 21, we call it the fringe. But where he's throwing those shots and stuff where they happen, I mean, he could get it there. So it's definitely a challenge. And then they got the receivers that could go up and get it. I mean, Williams, this guy, I know he's on some list for whatever, but we're preparing for him to play. And, it's a challenge. It's a big receiver that goes up and gets the ball. So it's a good combination. But it's funny. Again, ownership, people in the front office, that's been the Chargers for, at least the 13 years I've been in the league. They always had those big receivers, Vincent Jackson, all those guys in the past. They always had those big receivers. You had Phillip Rivers, who had an arm. So, it's giving me flashbacks to the first time I went out there to play the Chargers. I think it was, it might have been 2010 or 11. And they just had so many weapons. They had Tolbert, they had LaDainian Tomlinson as the back, they had Rivers, they had Gates, they had the two receivers, then the third receiver, I think it was Amon, come in. It's obviously a formula they like there with the Chargers. So. Oh yeah, well, see, that's before my time. But I've seen, no offense, Dan.
No offense to me.
Yeah, or Kellen Winslow, because I'm friends with his niece, so no offense to those guys, but
They threw it around way years ago.
When you going back to the fourth down stuff too, we know you're a defense that likes to substitute a lot and bring in different packages. Does it make you hesitant between third and fourth to know what you're putting out there?
You have to be mindful. You have to be mindful on second down, too, because you don't know when they're going to sprinkle in the tempo. I would say there's a few situations where they like it the most. They get a big play, 1st and 10 within a series, boom, tempo. Sometimes to keep you out of your exotics on third down, they'll go from second to third down, which is, good strategy right there, but you got to prepare for that. So whether it's from third to fourth down, the key is, for me as the coordinator, us as coaches, is to have calls that fit the situation. So potentially you might have a longer list of calls, but really all the same calls, but you got to do it out of different groupings. You just got to be aware of that. So, but the key is, and I think a lot of defensive coaches think like this, example being Flo last week with Miami, keep pressure on them the whole game. So that's just another way to keep pressure on them. Normally you make a play on third down, okay, ready to get off the field, fourth down, what are they going to do? It causes you to practice it. You got to deal with it, So it's a good strategy. It's a good strategy.
What do you think when you hear Keenan Allen might not play, Mike Williams might not play?
I think my luck over the last 13 years in the league, they're probably going to play. so that's what I think. So we prepare for, all the scenarios. Obviously, we'll have to be ready to adjust. It's no different than what happened, like what was as recently as last week with Parker. He got activated on Saturday. But we have to have a contingency plan to be ready for that stuff. So, I talk to you guys all the time about that. Just we got to be ready. We got to be ready, and whatever scenarios come up, that's part of our job.
Pat, was your defense frustrated at all coming off last game where you played very well for most of the game, but the offense isn't scoring enough points to give you guys a chance?
I think our defense is upset that we lost the game. That's our guys. They go out there and play every down. Really, our job description and my job, and I say our because I'm part of the defense, is to hold them to less points than, we got to hold them to less points. So I think we're more frustrated. We're frustrated with that we lost the game. I mean, doesn't the offense come into play? Those guys play hard. They go out there to do their job. Miami was good. It's just it's our job to keep the points down, and we got to do a better job of that.
3 more.
You've had situations into the last 2 weeks where in a key spot, Stephen Parker is covering, Dallas Goedert gets a pass break up, and then last week, Jaron Williams is all of a sudden logging as many snaps as he did. What does it say to you about those guys in the secondary, the fact that you're calling their numbers, some out of necessity, and they're actually stepping up and making plays?
That we have good coaches on our staff. That's what it says to me. Those guys, Jerome in terms of with the defensive backs, relentless in terms of preparation and getting those guys ready, even when they're not even on the active roster. I mean, what you got to understand is the way we look at the game is we're dealing with a collision sport, right? So there's going to be injuries somehow, some way. So you have to, part of our job requirement is to have guys prepared. And the extra meetings they do, whether it's Jerome, Jeremy, Mike, when guys are on practice squad, when we do periods in practice and we call the plays that are going to come up in the game plan, it's all about preparation in terms of that and being able to see ahead and getting those guys prepared so when these moments come up, because it's not unique to the Giants. It's not unique to the Giants. It's not unique to this year. Every year, those young guys are going to have to play at some point during the season, and it's our job to be able to have them prepared and ready to go. So, it just tells me we got the right coaches on the staff. They do a good job, where something happens, okay, can we still call this? Yes, Pat, he's ready. And I think they do a great job at that. And I'm proud to have these guys on the staff. They do a good job. They help me out a ton, and we just got good coaches. We got good coaches on the staff.
What makes Rashawn Slater a special offensive lineman?
Athletic ability, combination of that and his strength. And as a young player, it seems like he's getting it. I don't see a lot of mental errors out there. Sometimes you try to ID those young guys and say, all right, this guy's going to make a mistake. Let's do this. Let's mug up over him. Let's do something to him to affect him. You're not really seeing that. And again, he went to Northwestern, correct? Yeah. I'm not saying that, again, college doesn't matter. Plus, Northwestern is a safety school anyway. But I'm joking. But that stuff doesn't come into play. But but he seems like a smart player. I was real impressed with what he's doing on the field. But his toughness, athletic ability, and he's playing strong right now and playing smart.
Last one.
What did you attribute the red zone coverage breakdowns to last week?
Again, for me, I'm second guessing a few of the calls for myself, but that happens all the time. I gotta stop, sometimes I gotta remind myself, stop doing that. It's about execution. I just think we had, they had the right play call for when we called it. They did a good job. George and those guys do, and Flo and those guys do, and Eric, they do a good job over there. And they made the throws. Tua made some good throws. That ball in the corner. Hounds was, playing around with the ball a little bit. You hope sometimes that ball bounces out of there. He doesn't get his feet down. Then the play when I think Ford that came back through 87. You try to pull up the quarterback. He makes a good play on the sideline. We got the third down on that one. The second down play before the 2 minute. Hope that if it comes up this week, a little better execution, have the right call called, and just play again. But the thing is, when we're trying to try to make them play left-handed, take away their targets, and see if those other guys can make plays. The difference this week is, you got a lot of weapons. You go down in the red area for the Chargers. The quarterback's a problem, scrambling. or he could run it if they decide to do that. You got the back who's getting the ball at a high rate, especially down there in the high red, getting the ball at a high rate. Then you got all those targets in the passing game, whether it's the tight ends, and then you could throw 82 in there when they get him in the high red and go through the middle of the defense and go on verticals. But, you try to make them play left-handed. Sometimes they make the plays, and, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into play, but that's part of being a coach. You start thinking about all the different scenarios. What could you have called better there? The bottom line is we got to execute, and I'm talking about me as a coach. I got to make sure I'm executing the right call, and it'll be challenging this week. I mean, we're talking about a good red area offense that has good weapons, so it'll be interesting this week. Hopefully, we do a better job.
Real quick follow-up. Yeah. On that touchdown where Hollins was juggling it, would you rather see Xavier finish that play there?
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into play with that. It was a tough catch, good throw. Honestly, probably put more on it on me. I'm like, I could maybe been in this other call. That's what I end up doing. So, but our guys, they play hard. They play hard. They try to execute what we're asking them to do, and obviously we all got to do a better job to get the W. So, thank God we got another opportunity this week, and we got good weather while we're out here. So.